Hey YouTube, Tactical Timmy here. I wanted to talk about the case for gold versus silver stacking. This is an age-old debate that stackers have been having for such a long time. You'll know I'm a huge fan of gold, and I also do a fair amount of silver stacking. What are my thoughts on the gold versus silver stacking conundrum? Well, I don't think you have to necessarily pick one. There are some advantages, especially once you've been stacking for a while, to going with more of a gold-heavy portfolio. But we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty details behind these questions. When it comes to gold, you've got a lot of advantages. One, it's more compact, it takes up less space, you can have these quarter ounces, you can store them in a tube, and honestly, you can tuck it away and forget that you have it. Now, with that, it is a higher point of entry. You have to save up more money before you can actually go out there and buy gold. You are going to be saving a lot more in terms of if you want to buy that quarter ounce. Right now, it's going to be over $500, $600, $700 for you to buy a quarter ounce of gold. Now we can obviously bring it down to the 1/10 ounce size, and we can get it a little closer to that, $200, $300 range, but it's still more than if you were to go out and even buy one of these fancy, absolutely beautiful silver koalas. Look at that guy. The eucalyptus leaves in the back. I don't know if my camera does it any justice, but the silver koalas are a favorite here on the channel. You end up having that higher point of entry with gold. Now, with that, you have to delay gratification to buy gold. And whenever you're delaying gratification, that tends to mean that you're working up and you're saving for something and you're gonna get a payoff in return. And gold traditionally is going to give you that payoff, and being a little less volatile in terms of its price, so less up and down movement in gold's price than you will see in the silver price. Now, that's not always necessarily going to be the case, but it does tend to be the case over the long run. Now, one of the things that we would see in terms of one of the downsides of gold is you just can't have as much variety. When you're spending a ton on a coin, well, you're only going to be able to buy one or two every now and then. You're not going to be able to go out and buy a new kangaroo or a new koala every time you go to make a purchase. It's probably going to be better to end up stacking more of the same thing when it comes to gold. Sure, you can get some different lunars and you can get the kangaroos and obviously the different fractional sizes of the American gold eagles, but you're probably going to be better off when it comes to gold in simply standardizing and picking just the few series that you want to collect. Now, we were talking about koalas or silver. On the other hand, you can afford to collect a lot of different kinds of coins for them because the price point in the entry level is much lower for silver. Hey, it's not a real huge commitment for you to go out and buy a $30, $35 coin. Even with the premium tacked on there, it's not that bad, and it's easier for people to get in, and that's one of the benefits of silver, and that's actually one of the reasons why I was able to get into silver investing. I've told the story before on YouTube about how I got my first little ounce of silver, and that's one of the benefits, is it doesn't take a lot to get into silver investing. You have that low point of entry, easier to get into. It takes less of that delayed gratification to save up, unlike when we're saving up to buy our gold coins. Now, the trade-off, because there is a trade-off with that silver. One of the trade-offs is simply that it's going to be a little more volatile in the price. We'll see that as silver spikes a little more frequently. We'll see that silver's price has been up and down and maybe doesn't reflect a lot of what we would think of when we think silver's price should be doing. So that volatility is part of what we're going to pay for. Another thing, if you look at this, I have some silver laid out. See how much more space it's taking up than this gold? And this gold that's before you on the table is valued way, way more than all of that silver that you see. So it takes way more silver to make up the same value of gold. That can really become an issue when you get to be a serious stacker and you're starting to really build a portfolio. That's where you maybe want to start thinking about having different bars, or thinking about transitioning maybe a little bit away from silver and maybe focusing a little more on gold. Because as our portfolios grow, we need to make sure that we're keeping things in check and we're not having, tons and tons of room being taken up by silver. Granted, if you're really buying a lot of silver and you're running out of room, that's probably a good problem to be having, but it's something that we definitely need to consider, especially if you're stacking on a moderate budget over time, or even a small budget over time. Really does add up. So overall, what are my thoughts on gold and silver? I think that silver is a fantastic way to get people into the stacking community, because I think that the stacking community is a great way to diversify your assets and not just have people owning the traditional stocks and bonds. It lets people have something physical and tangible that they can actually take hold of and appreciate the value of these coins, because there really is value when you get to holding these coins. It's really beautiful, and makes you want to go out and purchase more of them. So overall, I think silver is a fantastic entry point, and I think that almost always it's an entry way into enjoying this beautiful gold, because I think that that's where most people end up, especially if they're stacking on a reasonable budget over time. They'll probably find their way into stacking gold, whether it's these American Eagles, whether it's a beautiful Lunar Series coin. I still love that 2024 dragon. Look at that, snaking up out of the water. Absolutely beautiful dragon. Or our kangaroos. Gold still offers a little bit of variety and is not necessarily going to be as boring as some may think when they think of gold investing and they think of only buying eagles, and more eagles. So I encourage you all to go out there, find those little collections that you enjoy, whether it's the koalas or whether it's kangaroos, whatever speaks to you, and finding those collections, but also thinking more about the investing side and thinking about making sure that you're taking care and not overpaying premiums, and that you are setting yourself up on a good investing footing. So if you like this video, feel free to leave a like or comment down below, and I hope you all take care.